So Shimano has released their gravel specific component group GRX, and a lot of you guys have been asking what I think about it. I typically don't like to do videos on products that I haven't touched or used physically, but I will make an exception on this one because, as you guys know, I have made many videos about gravel gearing and how the stock gearing on most gravel and adventure bikes is just asinine. So what are my thoughts on the new GRX? Is it the new Hotness or is it a hot mess? I'm not going to go into all the nitty-gritty details and specs. There are tons of other videos that will go into the model numbers and compatibility and basically regurgitate the press release. That is not what this video is about. It's basically my thoughts, my initial impressions on the new GRX line, with the caveat, of course, that I haven't had a chance to try it out personally. So my first initial reaction is it's about time. I know there are many people out there that are perfectly content with the compact road double, and if you are, that's awesome. But where we live and how we use these adventure bikes, often loading it up with gear, a compact road double is pretty limiting. And in case you think I'm just a big weenie wanting lower gears, you know, another weenie who customizes his bikes to have a 4630 is J. Peter Very. That's right, the JP. Multi-tour divide racer and finisher. He also won the Silk Mountain Road bike packing race. And if you look at his bike, he's running a 4630. This is pre-Shimano offering, so he actually used the Blackspire oval chain rings. So if it's good enough for JP, it's probably good enough for you. In typical Shimano fashion, they are doing their 3-tiered release. 2x11 is the higher end component group set, and the crank sets available for that are going to be 48, 31, and also in the fine print, they will be offering a 4630 for the 2x11. I think they did that to appease the I need a big chainring crowd that would feel uncomfortable going below 50. Couldn't just fully embrace going 4630 and went with the 48 instead. I think of the 3 available tiers, I'm actually most interested in the just humble and worksman-like Tiagra 2x10 speed. Plenty of gears for me, and that will come stock as 4630. And you can pair that with their new GRX rear derailleur, and you can run the cassette in the rear as big as 1136. I did ask my contact at Shimano if you could conceivably, just for fun, if you could run 2x with an 1140 or 1142 in the rear, and their answer was no. The rear derailleur wouldn't be able to take up all that slack. So I think with that 4630 and the 1136 in the rear, we finally get usable gears for true bike touring and bike packing adventures in steep terrain with stuff on our bikes. So kudos to Shimano for that. Shimano's also offering some 1x options. I know some of you guys are fans of 1x. So far, it sounds like the stock chain rings that they're offering are a 42 and a 40, which in my experience, is good for, unloaded day rides or events, but probably won't give you low enough gearing for bike packing in truly steep terrain. So I don't know if it's in their plans, but it would be nice to see some smaller chainring options for people that are actually going to load their bikes 1x. I think some of the most interesting improvements are actually in the drifters. Not having handled them myself, I do like the looks of them. They're very kind of industrial, a little bit more angular, almost Batmobile-like, compared to the more svelte and smooth road drifters, but also some functional changes. Supposedly they added more of a notch in the hoods of the levers, with the thinking that you're probably going to be riding mostly in the top, and it would be good to give your hand a better and more secure resting place so you're not sliding off the front. And to that end, they also changed where the brake lever pivots. They moved it up with the thinking you would get more braking power if you're braking from the hoods. And that I totally appreciate, because as a rider who rides probably about 90% of the time in the hoods, having better braking power or equal braking power to being in the drops would be awesome, especially with mechanical brakes. I found in my riding experience testing gravel bikes, the biggest advantage for me with gravel bikes that have hydraulic disc brakes is you get optimal braking power in the hoods. If Shimano can mimic that in a mechanical disc brake set just by changing where the brake lever pivots, that is friggin' awesome. So what does this all mean? I think gravel and adventure biking, bike packing, whatever you want to call it, has finally come of age because we officially get our own Shimano group set. Although there are some quirky compatibility issues, for example, you have to use their new front derailleur with their new crank set. They didn't go full-on proprietary, needing a whole new free hub or a specific chain like some other brands did. I, for one, am really looking forward to this group set. I think it makes perfect sense, especially the 4630. I hope to see that become the default gearing for gravel bikes in the future. But beyond just the whole gravel thing, I think 4630 makes a great crankset for commuter bikes, for entry-level road bike, and for anyone that can get over the weird coxmanship of needing a 50-tooth chainring up front. It will be interesting to see how this plays out and how this affects other brands like Rene Urs, Velo Orange, FSA, and Praxis, early adopters of the subcompact crankset. Will Shimano have eaten their lunch as the 4630 becomes OEM on gravel bikes in the future? We'll see. It will be interesting to see how FSA responds, how SRAM responds, if they will finally come out with their own 4630. And just a side note, SRAM, they were touting Y-Fly. And just a couple years ago, you had perfect compatibility between the road drifters and mountain bike derailleur. And then they just went, boop. I feel like if SRAM had just kept on that Y-Fly path, they would have come out with some awesome subcompact options that don't require all sorts of proprietary stuff, which is kind of a bummer because they could have taken the lead on this. But now we've got Shimano, so there it goes. I, for one, am super looking forward to testing a group set out, hopefully getting a bike with this group set and share with you guys actual riding opinions of the gearing. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited about Shimano's new subcompact offerings? Leave those in the comments below. And if you like content like this, consider supporting the channel. And as always, keep the supple side down.
Living that supple life.